Hey YouTube, I'm Motor Racing Network's Steve Post, and again joined by one of the top NASCAR drivers, David Ragan's here. And David, welcome to Plan B Sales and our little YouTube program. Great to have you here.
Thank you. It's always fun to stop by, and always enjoy walking around and kind of seeing what new stuff you guys have.
Well, it is pretty exciting, and a lot of times, I don't know if it's like you, but we look at things, it's like a trip down memory lane with the cars that you've driven and some of the other cars we have around here. It's kind of a great way Diecast is to tell stories and remember great memories.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm a huge NASCAR fan myself, and so I collect some diecasts from other drivers as well, but certainly all of my own, even some diecasts that my dad drove back in the day. So yeah, they're cool to sit there, and I can remember as a little kid going into, you know, people's office or, you know, friends' houses and always see the nice collection, like here's the part that you can touch and play with, and here's the ones you can't touch. So it's fun to always come by and see.
Really is cool, that's for sure. David, we wrapped up the 2013 season. Front Row Motorsports, your little race team that's growing. How would you assess the 2013 season for you guys? I know there was a highlight or two along the way, but how would you assess the year?
You know, I'd give us a B, maybe a B plus. You know, an A deserves consistent. You know, maybe a win or two, and we didn't have that consistency. We had a couple of DNFs that we could have avoided. Obviously, the big win at Talladega, a couple of strong qualifying efforts, a couple of top 10, top 15s throughout the year. So we had moments of excellence, but we've just got to put everything together. So it was a lot of fun to be in the Sprint All-Star race last year. We're going to be in it again in 2014. From our Talladega win. So we've got some good momentum, but we've got to cut back on some of our bad races, some DNFs, some wrecks that could have been avoided, and if we can do that, we can be a little bit more consistent team. This
is such a process for Bob Jenkins, your team owner, to try to become Rick Hendrick or Joe Gibbs. It is a huge step. How are you guys, how patient are you with the whole process? I know, and fans, come on David, why can't you do this every week? How patient are you with the process and the progress that you guys are making?
Well, I'm patient, but maybe not patient enough sometimes. It's tough in the world of NASCAR. Our teams aren't franchised. You know, we don't have a union for drivers and a group for owners, and so in a NBA or NFL, you can just come in and buy your way and get what you want, and you can be successful quick. But in the world of motorsports, it's a little different, and so you've got to start small. You've got to be conservative throughout the way so you don't spend all of your money. And our team owner, Bob Jenkins, is that. He's very, very smart. He's a racer. He's a businessman. So tying those two together, he's made a lot of good decisions. Obviously, getting that first win was a big milestone. But we've got some great sponsors that have been part of our efforts. And we just got to continue to grow slowly but surely.
How are things looking for 2014 now? I know we chatted off mic before. You said some of your sponsors are coming back. And how are things looking for next year?
Yeah, most of our sponsors are coming back. CSX, Farm Rich Foods, the group that were on our Talladega win car. You know, Peanut Patch has been a loyal supporter of Front Row Motorsports for a few years. Loves Travel Stops, was been on David Gillen's car for a few races. So some of our strong partners are coming back. Department of Transportation, safercar.gov, they're always in for a few races to further their initiative. So a lot of good stuff going, but we've just got to keep it going. The off season happens very, very quick, so we got to make some moves, and Daytona will be here soon.
Boy, tell me about it. Daytona will be here soon. In front of us, we have a couple of your different diecast cars, and actually today you're here autographing the CSX cars, but we have the Peanut Patch car, and my favorite, the Where's Waldo car, David. I can't imagine just the memories as you look at these race cars that you've driven, and this just over the last couple of years with Front Row.
Yeah, you know, with a larger team and one sponsor, you know, you only have one diecast available a year, maybe a special paint scheme for a Daytona 500 or, you know, the Brickyard. But, you know, that is one of the, the perks to having multiple sponsors throughout the year. You have some different car designs, different paint schemes, and for the diecast collectors and our race fans, it's cool, and it's cool for us to get back and see these things. So definitely some good-looking race cars here.
Well, we have some questions here. Diecast Crazy, and folks, check that out. Diecast Crazy, great debates, great topics over there, great things over there. And I'm actually going to go with Wilbur on this one because it talks about the different paint schemes. And Wilbur wants to know, what is your favorite paint scheme that you have driven, and do you help design any of these race cars?
Man, you know, favorite paint scheme ever. It's tough to pick that one, but the first time that I got to see the Peanut Patch car, it was a bright green, bright yellow car for Darlington back last year, 2 years ago. That was kind of my favorite car. You know, I'm a Southern guy, a big boiled peanuts fan, and I like anything that's bright colors. Our CSX car is very bright, bright yellow, bright blue, and so anything that stands out and that jumps out, that's easy to see from the grandstands, easy to see from the TV, those have been my favorites.
Do they ask you to design them, or do they keep you in the driver's seat?
You know, I think that I can give them a few opinions, but they have their people, and a lot of times they interact their employees and their fans to help design the cars. So I give a few opinions, but they ultimately have the final say. Earlier
on in our talk, you mentioned you collect some diecast, and you are a collector of diecast. Is there a favorite piece, a favorite diecast car that you have in your collection?
You know, I'm a big fan of my dad back when he was racing, and they didn't have the diecast programs back then like they do today. The cars weren't as nice and as detailed back then, but we've had a few special cars handmade, you know, 3 or 4 to give away as Christmas presents, or maybe to one of his old car owners, an old sponsor. So those are probably my favorite. You know, it's neat to, you know, hold that piece of history in your hand. I wasn't old enough to see that car race, but to get to see it now is kind of neat. So definitely my win cars are pretty cool, but I like my dad's old diecast.
That's really cool. And again, these questions from Diecast Crazy. That one was from 2 Bob 4. Now, Checkered Flag Zone wants to get back to talking racing. It says Front Row Motorsport has made steady progress every year since committing to a full-time schedule. Where do you see Front Row Motorsports going 3 years from now and 10 years from now? Where would you see Bob Jenkins' team going?
You know, I think 3 years from now, you're not going to see a lot of difference. You know, over each year we make small progress, and it's tough to close that gap between, you know, the Hendrick and the Richard Childress racings in a year or two. And so you have to go about it very methodically. 10 years down the road, I think that we're going to see a different landscape in the whole NASCAR community. A lot of our owners are in their 70s, 80s, and so I think we're going to see a change of the tide. Some of the young owners, like Bob Jenkins, that's in the sport today, I think that they're going to make good decisions, and they're going to be the future. You know, there's always kind of a turnover. You look back into the 1980s and the 1990s, and you see teams like, you know, Junior Johnson and Holman Moody, and, you know, even, you know, Robert Yates Racing and some of those teams that were successful. You know, they kind of go away and new guys emerge. So I think that that's going to happen again in the next 10 years.
That's just great. I mean, it just gives us a lot to think about, and a lot to dream about as far as what we're going to see down the road. Question about Bob Jenkins, and Bob owns a series of chain restaurants. Let's see, M. Winters wants to know, which of Bob's restaurants is your favorite?
Well, I'm a Taco Bell fan, so you know, he's got some Long John Silver, some A&W restaurants, but you know, Taco Bell, it's tough to beat, you know, a good burrito or taco at Taco Bell.
I'm an A&W root beer. Well, you can see I'm an A&W root beer guy. Love going to an A&W root beer stand, and Bob does a great job with us. Final question is Sprint 9988 writes, and David, as we taped this earlier this week, you announced to the world that you and Jacqueline are fixing to become parents. Sprint 9988 wants to know, have you asked advice from fellow drivers about fatherhood? Because Lord knows the motor coach lot is full of little ones these days. Have you asked other drivers?
We've talked about it a little bit. We had a test at Charlotte last week, and so I got a chance to talk to a few of the other guys and give them the good news. So yeah, they've definitely given me some advice, and you know, that's get plenty of sleep and enjoy your time while you can. So we're excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a busy summer and a busy end to the 2014 season, but like you mentioned, there's a lot of young kids running around that motorhome lot, so maybe we can group everyone together and kind of have some little daycare sessions where we don't have to take all the load ourselves.
There we go. That might very well work. It is an exciting time, that's for sure. And folks, we appreciate your questions. Our Twitter account is Plan B Sales. That's at Plan B Sales. You can ask questions here on the YouTube page down below, or Diecast Crazy is another place that you can ask questions, as we have guests in here for our regular Diecast review shows. We'll take your questions. And David, thanks for signing these cars. They are available at planbsales.com or your local dealer. But thanks for joining us here today, and appreciate the time, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody, and look forward to Daytona.
Sounds good. That's David Ragan joining us here on our Diecast Review Show for planbsales.com. We love that you guys are getting involved with us here on YouTube. We have the comments below. Feel free to mention your comments here. Follow us on Twitter at Plan B Sales, and we'll keep you informed on what we have. And please get some back and forth conversation going, because we love talking racing and love talking with you race fans out there, and we appreciate the business you do give us.